1, go.
Good morning, U.S. history. Okay. We're kind of leading into westward expansion, which will culminate in the Civil War. Now, leading up to that, last week you defined the word nationalism, and in the packet of 45 questions that you did, loyalty to a country. So you probably already knew that anyway. But now, what's starting to happen is the country's becoming more and more divided. So, the term I want to define right now is sectionalism. A section of the country, it's loyalty, strong sense of loyalty to a state or section instead of the whole country. This is particularly prevalent in the South. They're the ones that want states' rights, and they become much more obligated and loyal to their state. Like Virginia, people from there, when they fought the Civil War, much more loyal to Virginia than they were the whole country. Now I'm going to talk about differences between those sections. The North, and you may remember this from middle school or even earlier, the North was industrialized and it developed much more rapidly than the other two sections. It had certain advantages. Specific geographic features which were good or advantageous for the North to industrialize. Rivers. Not that the South didn't have rivers, but the North had very good rivers to use for transport, for power, hydroelectric power, etc. The North also developed the Erie Canal, which made transport easy. And it connected the Great Lakes, Lake Erie, to the Hudson River, which was also in your pack last week. Great ports. Great ports for trade with Europe, especially New York City. Became the trade capital of the world, really. Port of New York. So it became a trade and manufacturing center. The North develops a factory system, the use of interchangeable parts. Eli Whitney developed that idea of interchangeable parts with his cotton gin. And as I know you've learned this up through your grades too, working conditions. Many women and small children under the age of 12 were used. Horrible conditions, low wages. We get into more detail on that when we get into the Industrial Revolution. As industries grew, so did cities, because people moved closer to their work, so cities grew, and so did typical urban problems: pollution, overpopulation, unsanitary conditions. A large labor supply existed in the North. Immigrants were landing at Ellis Island, and they're really taken advantage of. A lot of times they don't understand English. They'll take the job, but they're being totally exploited and paid very little money. Certain political factors gave advantage to the North as well. Hamilton's Bank, remember, think Bank with Hamilton, gave loans to northern businesses for growth. Tariff of abominations. Okay, let me explain this one. 1828. A tariff is a tax on imports, if you remember. We just covered that the North is industrialized. The South, however, they have a pretty good deal going with England. The South, which I haven't mentioned yet, but I think you know, produced cotton. They would sell cotton to British factories. The British would make that into clothing or whatever the South needed. And the South could buy from England fairly cheaply. They had a good system going. Well, this tariff passed by Congress taxes imports. It put a tax on what the South imported from England, made it very expensive for them. Who did it force them to buy from? Well, who has the factories? The North. So rather than buying cheaply from England, now they have to buy from the North, and they're very angered by that. they feel that the national government is favoring the North. It's another reason that they're going to want to leave. Abominations, hated, horrible, abominable. So it's an awful tariff in their eyes, and they threaten to secede. South Carolina threatens to secede, led by Senator John Calhoun. The North also has technology, better technology, steamboat, railroads. Almost all the railroad mileage was in the North. The South does have some advantages too. Agricultural, their cotton growing. I'm not going to say advantages right now, but these are aspects of the South. Agricultural, cotton growing, tobacco, whatever. There's a big demand, as I just said, for cotton from the British textile mills. And whereas some people thought that the cotton gin, which made it possible to produce more cotton, remove seeds, some thought that this would actually decrease slavery. It increased it, because now they can use more and more cotton. Large demand in cotton, increased use of slaves. With the increased use of slavery, northern abolitionists come about who demand slavery be ended, to abolish, to end. The under Northerners, not, slavery had existed in the North at times too. But the argument here, the South says, you're hypocrites, you abolitionists. Who are you to tell us that slavery is horrible? Look at your northern factories with the women and children. You're no better than we are. So there's a growing distrust. The West frontier, continued movement westward, many new states formed as we move west. Trappers, explorers, farmers, pioneers moved to the west under the idea of manifest destiny, which Andrew Jackson certainly supported, as did some after him. James Polk, president, we've probably never heard of. But manifest destiny, it's our destiny, it's our fate to take all the land between here and the Pacific Ocean. Our destiny is to expand, be the dominant nation in North America. We are superior. Whoever's in the way, move them. In other words, Native Americans. They're constantly pushed further west, they're placed on reservations. We know the horrible treatment they received. The West hated the bank. I told you that last week with Andrew Jackson. And that's that.